Oh, Max on Paul Lloyd Mortar, Musendorfer, Harley there on that bass fiddle. And we got Paul just kicking back against the wall, playing those skins. Great job, guys. We love you. Hey, good morning, Seaside. Woo, what a joy it is to be with you on this fabulous day. It is truly a wonderful day here in San Diego, and I'm so glad you are here. It's an exciting day. It's a dynamic day, and we're just back from convention. I see Rebecca. We was down there at convention all week, and we were all over the place. There were 500 of us that got together, and it was a lot of fun for sure. And Seaside was well represented. We had our very own Rebecca singing down there. We had Kim Jarrett doing benediction on opening night. So Seaside was very impactful in its presence. So welcome, wherever you may be on your spiritual path. Know that you are welcome here. It is a community that loves and supports and puts spirit first. And so what we do every morning is we invite a practitioner out to hold the light. And so symbolically this morning we have Kathy Bouquet carrying the candle, symbolic of the light, notice that. And what that is, it's sitting back in the prayer center, just being a vortex, bringing forth the presence of God into the sanctuary, into our field of awareness, into our heart and our soul, allowing us to feel that divine vibration in that frequency. So that is going on throughout the course of the service for sure. And I want to invite you, if you got a cell phone, you don't have to put it away. I encourage you to take it out, take a picture, check in, let your social media fans know where you are and what is going on, because our singer today is, San Diego's best live performer here on our stage. It is our very own Rebecca. So I'll tell you what, I'll save that for her when she gets out here. But stand up and just greet that person next to you, shake their hand, give them a little bit of love, and just let it be felt. Moving all around, man. Never know where you're going to find it.
Good morning, Seaside. Please remain standing for the congregational song. We all know this one. Please sing it with me. Whoa, the Spirit of God is upon 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 me. Whoa, I used to think that I had to. I used to think that I should. The scripture told me that I had to be good. But now I love because I want to. I love because I am free. Blinded by the Spirit of love. The Spirit of God is upon me. Come on. Whoa. The Spirit of God is upon me. 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 Whoa. I don't need any prodding. I don't need any law. I want to sing with all my heart, with my all in all. Let go of my burdens. Love of God has set me free. Blinded by the Spirit of love. The Spirit of God is upon me. Come on. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Whoa, the Spirit of God is upon me. Whoa, the Spirit of God is upon me. thought it was my job. Somewhere I believed that loving God would be hard. But loving God is wonderful. Loving God has set me free. Blinded by the Spirit of love. The Spirit of God is upon me. Sing! Oh, Spirit of God is upon me. Come on! Whoa, you feel it? Spirit of God is upon me. Whoa, Spirit of God is upon me. Whoa, Spirit of God is upon me. Whoa, yeah, Seaside.
All right, Seaside. And Rebecca, oh my goodness. I want you to know our Moving God and Experience of Rebecca at convention. She just crushed it. 500 people up on their feet just singing Rise Up, and they did with you. So proud of you there.
Thank you so much.
That was just fabulous. And, Gary Lynn Floyd sings here, the musical director for the whole thing. He kind of shared with me on the side. He's crushing on you.
Uh-oh. I knew it.
Yeah.
I told him I have a crush on him too, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, good thing you both are married, so,
Right.
How fun. Thank you. It was wonderful to have you there and have everybody see what's going on at Seaside.
It was an honor to be there and represent us. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Rebecca. Well, what I tell you we do around here is Spirit First Always. We have a wonderful practitioner. David Yankaskis was head of our practitioner corps, did a couple tours of duty through that corps council, and is about ready to take us to a deep place. So please welcome David Yankaskis.
Good morning, everybody. Please join me in the silence. Perfect God within me, perfect life within me, which is God. Come forth into expression through me for that which I am. Lead me ever into the paths of perfection and cause me to see only the good. That good is spirit, that is good what I call God. That good is infinite, that good is eternal. That good is the ever-present substance in which I live, move, and have my being. That is my truth. And as I know my truth, I know this truth for each and every one here. That oneness that is within, that quiet place, is right there. Look before you, look behind you, look within you. That God presence is always there. Always shining that love. So knowing this truth for myself and for each and every one here, and this oneness that is all, I give thanks and I am in gratitude. Knowing this, knowing the oneness that is present right here and shining forth for this beautiful Sunday, I give thanks.
We
Beautiful. Thank you. You guys all feeling that? Yeah. My name is Kim Jarrah Whittington, and I am a practitioner here at Seaside as well as a ministerial student. I graduate in June. I'm so excited. And I just came back also from convention where I got to go a couple of the evenings, and I was very blessed enough to be invited to the very first night, which was the Emerging Leaders night. Emerging Leaders are those under 40, and on a side note, I'm not really under 40. I miss it by a couple years, but there's not many of us out there. So I was honored, one of only two that were invited who are not yet ministers, to participate in the actual service, and I was able to do the benediction. So my goal was to represent Seaside well in each of you, and it was a beautiful experience. So thanks. Along with that, what was so awesome was seeing Gary Lynn Floyd do his wonderful magic on the stage. I know you talked about it a little bit with Rebecca and their love affair. But with that, I will be giving the talk this Wednesday evening here at Seaside at 7 o'clock. And I'm here this Wednesday and then also the Wednesday after. And Gary Lynn Floyd is with me this Wednesday. So if you're interested in coming to hear me talk and also to experience the amazing music that he has to offer, come 7 o'clock. Those of you who are here for the very first time, welcome to Seaside. We'd like to just take a moment and just thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here and blessing us with your heart and your soul. At Seaside here, we're a community where we love to open up our hearts to each and every person. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your background is. We love you unconditionally. We're here to grow together and to develop ourselves into the better version of who we want to be by using the principles of science of mind. And so if this resonates with you after you've been here, please see us in the back. There's a welcome packet for you. And in there's a CD of another wonderful talk from Dr. Christian, as well as a card in there where you can provide feedback and you can get information on what's happening here at Seaside through an email blast that we put out. So it's a great way to stay connected with us. So again, welcome. So what I wanted to talk about with you a little bit today, gotta switch hands so my phone works, is there's what's called the AGNT, which is the Association for Global New Thought. And this is an association that is fabulous, and it takes all the different New Thought teachings and brings the leadership together. And so it's a beautiful representation of our movement. And I believe Dr. Christian is part of that, which is fantastic. So we're represented well in Science of Mind. But you've also got Michael Bernard Beckwith from Agape and Emerson School, and you've got the Unity Ministers, etc. So I wanted to read to you because this is the season for nonviolence. We're kind of ending that right now. And they have a beautiful quote and 65 days of nonviolence if you go to their website. But this particular quote says, it's a reflection, and it says, "The thought for today is courage. I shake off everything if I write. My sorrows disappear. My courage is reborn." From Anne Frank. When you discover that everyone is contained in you and you are contained in everyone, you have realized the unity of life, which is the divine ground of existence. Then you're not just a person. You've become a beneficial force. Wherever you go, wherever you live, those around you will benefit from your life. Even one unassuming man or woman in a community has the courage to lead a nonviolent life. She will make her contribution, and she will slowly inspire others to make the same contribution, because human nature responds to such an example. When we say, "Whatever comes, we will not be afraid because the divine self is within us," then this resolutionness and faith will enable us to work free from tension, agitation, and fear of defeat. The person who works in this way is at peace because he or she is not anxious about results. And with that, let's go into prayer. And so just allowing the Spirit, this divine essence, this powerful presence of peace and love, be still within right now, knowing that there is just this one essence, this one ultimate reality of our lives, and that is God, made manifest in you, made manifest in me. I claim right now that what I experience at each and every moment is experienced with each and every one of you, for we together are part of that oneness, that unity, that life of all. And so as I move through this service, I can claim with certainty that it is beautiful, that there is a grace and an essence in the message that Dr. Christian gets to deliver to us, and our soul is called forth in the gracious music of Rebecca and the band. I know right now that this is a service that is called forth by the divinity of the One, that there is nothing but truth being told, being heard, that our message is clear, and that our time here today has come at the right and perfect moment. And so with this, I just sit in the gratitude of knowing that this life, this purpose, this essence of our expression on this planet is exactly where we are meant to be, because we are shining the light of the One, graciously giving of ourselves and experiencing and touching the lives of others in that peaceful, loving kindness that we all are. And so with this, I just sit in the gratitude, knowing it is so, release it, and so it is. Take a moment, and I want to introduce. So normally we have a guest artist, but I don't want Rebecca to introduce herself because she's too awesome to do that. So again, Rebecca has been nominated. She has won Musician of the Year, I believe, in San Diego. She's nominated. So she is nominated again this year, but she's nominated, I think, for Best Album. Oh, Best Jazz Album, of course. So we are so blessed to have her. Honestly, I travel to different centers. You know, this music rocks, and it's because of her. So welcome, Rebecca Jade.
Thank you. That was so sweet. Good morning, Seaside. I want to just say I am grateful from the bottom of my heart every time I get to be here with all of you. I just want you to know that. Thank you. I picked, knowing that the message right now is of speaking of nonviolence, so I picked a couple songs I think that you all know. I wanted to start out with this one. It's a trip when you do a song that came out 40-ish years ago, and it's still kind of relevant, I think we've come a long way, but we still have work to do. So this message is powerful, and I hope you like the song choice. It's a classic tune, What's Going On. Hope you like it. Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you dying. We've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Father, we don't need to escalate, no. You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate, yeah. We've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Picking lines, sister, and picking signs, sister. Don't you punish me, sister, with brutality, sister. Come on, talk to me, sister, so that you can see what's going on.
What's going on?
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 Tell me what's going on. are they to judge us simply 'cause our hair is way too long? You know we've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Picking lines
brother,
and picking signs.
brother,
Don't you punish me
brother,
with brutality.
brother,
Come on, talk to me
brother.
so that you can see what's going on.
What's going on?
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 What's going on? Yeah, oh yeah. Do do da da do. Oh yeah. That's Bob on the sax. Come on, Max, give us some of that piano. Give it up for Max and our very own Seaside Band, y'all. Mother, mother, everybody thinks we're wrong, yeah. But who are they to judge us? Simply 'cause our hair is way too long. You know we've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Picking lines
Sister,
and picking signs.
brother,
Don't you punish me
Sister.
with brutality.
brother,
Come on, talk to me, just talk to
sister.
me, so that you can see what's going on.
What's going on?
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 What's going on? What's going on?
What's going
Yeah.
on?
Tell me.
What's going on?
What's
going on?
going on? Tell me what's going on. Thank you, Seaside.
That is Rebecca J. That's what's going on at Seaside. Oh, yeah. Just like all the other artists. We are so blessed. Rebecca Jade, our very own. Woo! Man, Marvin Gaye would have been proud. What's going on? Woo! All right. So, hey, what's going on this morning is I am going to address spiritual equality. And so I thought that was pretty cerebral kind of conversation. But I hit Google, and I was really surprised at how many pages of entries there are on spiritual equality. And the number one was coming from Islam. Next one was Christianity, and then you had Judaism, and you actually had the New Thought that was up there, and then you had the Baha'i. And it was just a wonderful confirmation to recognize that really all the great religions are talking at least about spiritual equality. And as you read into it, it is about that presence, that God, that life force showing up in everyone in an equal kind of way. There is really no differentiation other than we are all equal expressions of God, bringing forth our unique expression. And so as we begin to explore from that kind of perspective that all the great religions talk about, we are equal expressions of spirit, then what becomes important is not to become blind to differences, but rather to open up our eyes and see other people fully, to experience the full range that other individuals have to share in this world, to be able to embrace the differences and know that these differences and these distinctions are the manifestation and the expression of spirit that is having its way in our life and in our world. And not to close down, but to open up and say, hey, show me, God. And that's an important piece here, is to be able to, when you recognize something that doesn't quite match what it is you know, to ask the question, what's going on here? Yeah, that's a great line, great song. What's going on here? Show me, God, where you are here. Because I'll tell you what, we all have our biases. We all have our preferences. I much prefer coconut gelato over peanut butter ice cream any day. It's just what I am in that. Though I am willing to explore other flavors anytime you want to take me out for ice cream, I'm up for that. And but I choose different stores because I have my preferences. But what's important to recognize is that we have the preferences and that we have the biases, and that they're not operating under the surface instinctually, subjectively, keeping us closed down to seeing the unique expression and the gifts and the beauty and the color and the wonderful expressions of God showing up in our life in ways that we know not of. Because what science has told us is that our brain acts from 80 to 90% from instincts, from subjective. That, in other words, it is reacting to what is going on out there before we even have an opportunity to run it through our conscious mind and our regular understanding. And so when something comes up, it's important to be there with it and say, okay, what's going on here? Someone sent to me this week a film that I had not seen, showed up from Amazon Anonymous, didn't know who it was, except they did tell me first service it was Rebecca Berry. A wonderful film. You may know about it. I may be the only one who didn't know about this film. It was called Wonder. Did you see it last year? Came out last year, and it was a low-budget film, $20 million. Hard to believe that's low budget. But for that, they got Julia Roberts to be the mom, Owen Wilson to be the dad, and this kid, Jacob Tremblay, who I didn't know, who played this young man who had facial differences at birth. And this movie was such a phenomenon last year that it made nearly $300 million. It just resonated at the core of our culture's being. I mean, it was like a wipeout emotional experience. But it was filled with all sorts of humor and fun and expression. And I highly, highly encourage it. It's probably on Netflix somewhere by now. But anyway, it's about this kid with the facial differences who was homeschooled. And as it was time to enter middle school, he had been protected from the world. He actually wore a space helmet so no one could see his face. But come fifth grade and middle school time, his mom made him go, which was a good parent thing because mom and dad were devastated about letting their little kid out of the nest. And this kid showed up at school, and it was tough. I mean, everybody looked at him. They pointed, made fun of him. But there was this one kid who was told by the principal, you need to make friends with him, and he did. And in his willingness to sit there, it was actually a true friendship that unfolded. And this kid, August Pullman, Augie, the little kid with the facial differences, loved Halloween because he could cover his face and be whatever he wanted. And it was Halloween, and he came on as joyous as can be, covered up. Nobody knew who he was. He entered into the classroom, and his best friend was talking to the bullies, and they were just trashing little Augie, and his best friend was joining in the conversation and supporting them in their trash of his friend. And there sat Augie behind that mask and was devastated and just crushed. And so what I got from that is how long it takes to build a foundation of trust and how in a second it can be ruined. And how forever it takes to rebuild that trust. You want to be careful with what it is you do with it. For this little kid eventually won the school over. Everybody loved him. And in the end, the bully loved him too. And at the head of the line said, it's hard to fit in when you're meant to stand out. And I want you all to know that you have come into this world to stand out in your unique, diverse expression, empowered by the expression of God, and that each of us becomes the person who is able to see that in other individuals, to call that forth. Welcome the difference and the expression, because one of the signs of spiritual maturity, I feel, is the ability to integrate that spiritual expression in all of our things. What happens so often is people compartmentalize. I will be spiritual here with my tribe, from my spiritual community, but I got to do my work, and I got to do my culture, and I got to do my trash talk, and I got to do my sports, or what have you. And all of a sudden, we have compartmentalized. Spiritual maturity is the integration of our spirit in and through all expressions of our life, and to be willing to be bold enough when nobody is looking, or that spirit is still there behind the mask of what's going on, paying attention and saying, hey, are you really in spiritual integrity here, Christian? Are you bringing the love into the workplace, into your family, into your conversations? Because I'm watching. Life is responding to how you are behaving in the world. And you get to decide, how am I going to be here in this world? There was a student say, you really want to find out about a Zen master? Who they really are in real life? Talk to their spouse. You have to find out what they say behind the closed doors. We want to be in spiritual integrity, and who you are is perfect and is wonderful, and I want to see you, I want to know you, I want to know the full range of your self-expression, because who you are is a bright light and a beautiful piece of my world. And I was reading a story in the Amazon about wasps, that they have 900 different varieties of wasps in the Amazon, which is about 900 too many from my judgmental perspective. I'm not a big fan of those expressions of spirit. But as I educated myself a little bit, which was the next sentence of this article, it said that each one of those unique and diverse expressions were necessary to make it into the different fig palms so they could be pollinated, because if it was one that couldn't fit into it, and without the full diversity of the 900 wasps, those figs would no longer be there to drop on the floor for the little critters to run up and get them. And if the little critters didn't have the food to live, then the bigger critters, the mammals that ate those little guys, wouldn't have anything to eat. And the bigger guys like the jaguars, the peccaries, wouldn't have any, and there would be none, all because of the diversity of those 900 different wasps. It's just a piece of information I thought you couldn't live without. I was reading also, I guess we're talking about a little diversity here, but this one kid, a young man, wanted to be a basketball coach at the high school. And it wasn't quite working out, and so he took the role of leading. It was called the San Francisco Center for Especially Handicapped. And so his first assignment was to lead the basketball team there. And so the first day, 4 people showed up for him. And they were all specially handicapped in their own unique way, including one who was in a wheelchair. And then finally, that impasse was taken care of as this one African-American 6-foot woman came walking out of the men's bathroom and said, I want to play with you guys. He said, okay. And so they had their 5. He had his playbook and his plan, and it took him 45 minutes to get these 5 individuals lined up on the same side of the court facing in the right direction. At which point he realized, I got to throw out my plans here. It's a playbook. And so he decided to just go with the flow. And as soon as he threw out his playbook, other people began to show up. And they had cheerleaders, and they had practices, and they had hot dogs. And sometimes even during the game, they would all stop and play music, invite everyone from the stands to come on the floor and dance together. And by the end of the season, there were 7 to 12 players, but by the end of the season, they are the only basketball team in history to have won a game by more than 1,000 points. Because one of the kids on the team had so much fun pressing the point button on the scoreboard that would buzz, ding, 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 that they, And so when you're flexible enough, the Buddha said anybody who's trying to push their philosophy through and going through life is just annoying people. You've got to be able to have heart and able to see and to be flexible. And yes, there are times for systematic approaches, but there is also times for flexibility. There's also time to be able to be in the flow. And when one can live in the non-dual aspect of consciousness, realizing that there is no otherness, but the wonderful, unique expression of God is seeking to express itself through multiplicity, through many different avenues, and that as all the religions are telling us, we are equal expressions of the divine presence, and if we don't see it, it is our doing, not another person's, and that we are the ones that need to look just a little bit deeper, because this non-dual aspect of consciousness doesn't eliminate distinction. What it does, if anything, is it enhances the beauty of each individual's unique distinction in life. We can begin to see the beauty. We can begin to see the presence, the sacredness. I don't want to be colorblind. I want to be color conscious so I can see the sacredness and the preciousness and the wonder of this individual that is walking in my life and the gifts that you have, because we are all expressions of God. And this experience of the oneness and the unity of spirit, it's not an intellectual thing. I don't even know if it's a spiritual thing. I'm telling you, it's like a body thing. It's an embodiment. It's an experience that, you know what, you're my brother. You're my sister. What's going on here? What am I missing? Am I a little awkward? Well, maybe I need to spend a little more time in the awkwardness to figure out why it is I'm not comfortable here. Yeah, I've got to take a look at my blind spots. We've all got blind spots. We've all got our affinities. We have all got our preferences. But if it blinds you and makes you not present, and you're operating from that 80-90% of instincts and subjective that has been programmed by a culture of fear or concern or preference, then we got some challenges in our life. Preferences in their own are not a bad thing. It's just when they're operating unconsciously in our field of experience that we need to pay a little bit more attention. We got to educate ourselves, if you would. Put yourself into the awkwardness. Say, hey, why am I not feeling the presence of God here? Why am I in my head? Or why am I thinking too much on this? How come I don't see it? And so as we educate ourselves, which is what we're doing today, as you know, we are screening at 12:30 exactly, because there's 30 other centers across the country, like the Unity Villages Chapel in Florida and Virginia and Michigan and East Coast and Idaho. We're all screening it at 12:30 our time, so we're going to hit that on time. And then afterwards, Dr. Kathy Hearn is going to help facilitate conversation. We're all going to be up on the screen together with these 30 centers simultaneously having our discussion and our experience of this movie that's called White Like Me. And Tim Weiss, who wrote it, said, born in white privilege, and he has become a crusade to eliminate racism in our country, having spoken at more than 600 universities. And he was influenced to do this documentary from a book that our culture was very familiar with. There was a man by the name of John Howard Griffin. And he was a journalist. 1959, he had something done to his skin that temporarily darkened his skin so he could travel behind racial lines or color lines, as he would say, in the Deep South. And we're talking Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, and Georgia, and wanted to have the experience of what it was like to be black in a racial Jim Crow era. And he continued to document that. It was so profound. It came out in book form in 1961, won all sorts of awards, then became a movie in 1964 with James Whitmore, and really was a conversation to such a big extent it became famous again in 2014, 50-year anniversary. But anyway, this is the movie that influenced Tim Weiss, because the question is, what was it like to be black? Tim Weiss said, well, I'll tell you what is it like to be white? And you watch the beginning of this movie where there is the interview with people, and it was, I don't know what you mean. I really never thought about what it's like to be white. And what became very clear is that when you're living in the majority and the preferences, you don't think what it's like to try to integrate into Hispanic culture or an African American culture or an Asian culture. You don't realize how the preferences have been set up for you to win with going to school, or how the legal system is in your favor, or how there are all sorts of things that are going on that you don't even recognize that makes it easy for a white person to be able to function within our culture and our society. And so to be able to become aware of the preferences of what it is like to be white, to be able to realize the privileges that are ours, and on the contrary, what does that mean? You want to see a powerful movie, watch the 13th Amendment that's on Netflix right now, if you want to be rocked to the soul of how our system is rigged against minority as opposed to the majority. And so all of a sudden, as one begins to educate and expand the field of awareness, you're able to move into a greater realization of what possibly can I do here? How can I look at the preconceived notions or biases that I have? And where do they come from? Family, culture, religion, media, news. You ever stop to think how biased news feeds are? You got to get this side of the story, you can get that side of the story. But all the stories are kind of feeding out the same thing. You know, when they were trying to push social programs in our country, they showed white men lined up at food kitchens, and this FDR trying to get the social programs in. This would benefit this group. When they're trying to take them away, what do you see? Minorities lined up. That's the same percentage, one way or the other, but it's all of a sudden the perception that we are given. And so as we become aware, as we become conscious, as we begin to open up, we begin to see things that we maybe didn't know, and it's operating and kind of embarrassed, even shameful to recognize at a conscious level, but it is through awareness healing happens. I say that physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing, is that we've got to bring our awareness. Dr. Kathy Hearn and Kat Cespedes and myself, we sat in this cultural diversity commission workshop, and a wonderful minister, Reverend Michelle Senegal, facilitated. And she shared this video, and I've got another one I'll share, and her paperwork I'll share with you in a moment. But you want to run this commercial that played on our TVs, Mark? A Carlsberg commercial for you. But you know, we have operating in our subjective that instinctual automatic response, and as it begins to show up in our life, you benefit by taking a look at it and say, what's going on here? Do I want to continue to behave and respond this way, or am I want to practice that which seems to be part of the foundation of all the spiritual religions, and that is spiritual equality, that these are all expressions of God. It's my stuff that's getting in this way. It's my judgment that's being placed here. Oh, but I got rational. No, it's my judgment that's being placed here. I'm looking for something, and it doesn't match it. You remember the story of Mola Nasrin? He met one of his friends in the marketplace, and he said hi to his friend, and his friend said, hey, guess what? I'm getting married. And Mola said, congratulations. And his friend said, have you ever wanted to get married, Mola? And he said, well, yeah, I did a few years ago. I really wanted to get married, and so I decided I would go and look for the perfect wife. And I went to Damascus, and I found a woman. She was very nice. She was beautiful. She was intelligent, but she wasn't spiritual. We didn't have the same spiritual practice. And then I went to Istanbul, and then I thought I found the perfect person. She was very spiritual. She was intelligent. She was graceful. She was beautiful. But we just didn't communicate well. And so then I went to Cairo, and I was sure I found the perfect woman. She was beautiful. She was graceful. She was spiritual. She was intelligent. We communicated well. But the only problem is she was looking for a perfect man. Life comes back at us with what we're putting out there. And so what we want to do is recognize that, you know what, I've got to be willing to move to a new level so I can see in a new kind of way, because I'm spirit expressing. And am I willing to look at those tough places? Am I willing to look at my judgments or my behaviors or my cultural behaviors, because I am part of a string and a flow of a pattern? Because we are a brutal species. I mean, if you ever stop to really take a look at our history, I mean, the way we have brutalized, the early kings would blind their slaves and impale their prisoners. The Romans, the gladiators would mutilate each other. The Christians would burn women at the stake. America chained Africans to slave ships and whipped them into submission. The Nazis gassed the Jews and minorities at incredible rates. We dropped an atomic bomb, and you take a look at home, what's going on. There's a statistic, it's just devastating, but I recently read the statistic that 25% of Americans experience sexual abuse as a child. I mean, that's just a staggering statistic. And we point it upon ourselves as well. I mean, we abuse ourselves, we work ourselves to exhaustion, we deaden our soul so we can work or fit in or whatever it is, or we take it from slave shops, not knowingly, of course, but sweatshops. We take we take products, we disenfranchise the indigenous people from their cultures, we clear cut forests, we deafen whales with sonar, we create extinction in species. I can just keep going on, but I'm not going to, because that's not where I'm going. But the way we're able to deal with this, I think, or I feel, is that we kind of rationalize it. We create statistics. There's like a rational definition of being able to explain it, quantify it. We got it from the Greeks. You can measure it, you explain it, you do the math, it's scientific, and all those things. You report it on the news without emotions. We killed this many soldiers, or this many of our soldiers were killed this day. We'd never report how many we killed, heaven forbid. And then the next line item, like reading a laundry list. This is the Wall Street Journal's reporting for the day. It's just boom, boom, boom. And we can do that because we don't bring our soul into it. We don't bring our emotions to it. This is how many teen suicides there are. We just reported. This is how many people, minorities, are living below the poverty line, and we just reported. If we were to just take our soul and say, what is going on here? Why? Listen to the sadness that these teens are creating for their parents, the pain that these individuals and their soul right is being challenged, but we don't allow the heart to get into it, which allows us to disenfranchise with some of the things that are going on in this world and statistically report that. You report about a river, it's running this way, it's this long, it's this deep, it is this temperature, this is how fast it's moving, and that's the statistic rational reporting of something. But there's a big difference getting down to the river's edge and realizing if those statistics, which are important for building dams or passing bonds to pay for it, gives you the financial response, but you get down the river and you get the soul of all the people that are going to be displaced. Or you're measuring the temperature of the river and you fall in, 50 degrees is no longer relevant. It's an experience of what it is. It's called burr. And you're moving down at a rapid speed into white water. Knowing how to fast it's going is not going to help you to paddle, get out of there. And so I think that we are able to disassociate ourselves because we have gotten caught up in the rational perspective. But I'll tell you, the soul or the mystical connection is a by distinction. It is a by conversation. It is, it's not the I and it thing. This is why I can shut my soul off, or I can report these things, or I can do these things as long as the earth is an it. I'll treat it like an object. I'll treat it like dirt because I don't feel its soul. But if I can get to the I and thou of the situation, then all of a sudden I'm able to be in that relational kind of experience where it's no longer narcissistic I over it, but rather it is a we, it is a together, it is a conversation. And what allows me to not be blind, but to see a little bit deeper, to become conscious of what is going on, to open my eyes and realize that there is something going on here that is happening at the soul level. And if I am the one who's going to be breaking this pattern of exploitation, of treating human beings like objects, then I'm the one who must open my eyes, and it's got to begin with me. And so as I am in this relational kind of experience, I begin to explore myself. I want to learn for myself. And one of the exercises we did in this class that Reverend Senegal gave us, I want to put up here. She asked us to write 10 of our 10 trusted, our trusted 10. We didn't get to see all the pieces on it. I don't have time to do it with you. It was a class, but I'm giving this to you so you can pay attention. You list 10 people that you're closest, your trusted 10. You put them down on the left column, and then you go across and you just identify their gender identity, the race, the education, visible disabilities, marital status, sexual orientation, and age. And I found it very profound to take a look at, how much they were all like me. It's like a like me kind of experience. It's, wow, that these individuals kind of reflect me. My affinity is like me. That was not fully, but I'm trying to be a little bit more dramatic here. That if you were to run this, would you find yourself in a greater diversity? Because what we want to do is become inclusive. What happens when we get caught in our affinities and our biases, we become blind to the possibilities of greater experiences, greater expressions of God, greater love, opening ourselves. As I started today, what we want to do is, I want to see you. I want to feel you. I want to know you in a way that is not just superficial, but rather I want to experience the presence of God. And it may be scary. But see, one of the things we can do is begin to experience Spirit in a greater way. We say we have diversity, but I actually want us to move beyond diversity to a sense of inclusivity. See, a big difference there. It's not just diversity, it is inclusivity. We are in this together. We are brothers, we are sisters. This is what is going on at Seaside, at least to the best of our ability, and we will put ourselves in awkward conversation so we can move to that place where we continue to know the presence of God and become an inclusive spiritual community without judgment, where all are welcome. It is a growing, thriving spiritual community because of that love that is the heart and the soul of this. And so, did we get the sound? I want to show this last video clip, and then I'll wrap it up, because we got to get out of here so we can get going. But here is an experience been done on many street corners. An Arab gentleman puts the blindfold on. Do we have music? We had it. You want me? It was symphony, music, feeling. Violins are playing. I have hope that I'm safe with you. Together we can build a community of caring rather than one of fear. I'm scared.
My love, my love, my love, I am waiting.
I trust you.
For you. Only to adore you. My heart is for you, my love, my love, my love. This is my grief for you. There
There's many different ways to be in our skin, but when our focus is on spirit, we will break the spell that has been cast upon ourselves as individuals and the culture in which we live. And one of the ways to do that is through education, to allow yourself to participate in diverse expressions, to hang out in circles that you don't normally hang out in, to change your news feed, expand your news feed, watch TED Talks, have conversations, and know that your spiritual community is here to help promote this kind of expansion in the season for nonviolence. We have boldly taken a stand. Dr. Kathy Hearn and myself, they are going to be hosting this documentary, White Like Me, and what will definitely happen is an honest conversation that will be awkward, uncomfortable, but will stretch you and you will leave changed. I look forward to seeing you there. I love you. Bless you for this journey together. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring forth the goddess of music at Seaside, our very own Rebecca Jade, San Diego's live performer of the year. 3 years in a row, right here on our stage.
Okay, so not fair to make me cry right before I sing.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Welcome to Singing at Seaside.
Gosh, now I know what it feels like for all the other artists. Jeez. Wow, what a powerful message. Aren't we so grateful for Dr. Reverend Christian? I was trying to be really selective on the songs I picked for today in honor of nonviolence. And this song is a trip because, we all know this song. It's from a classic movie. You'll know it right away. But, you think of, this song, it talks about like the future, what we want, it's something we can strive for, but we're working on it, and I love that. We can have that dream that's over the rainbow. That's the song I'm gonna do for you this morning. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? show some love to Bob and our very own Seaside Band. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles melt like lemon drops way above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't
That is Rebecca Jade taking us over the rainbow, bringing in heaven to earth now. How beautiful. Hey, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to share our gift, to share our love, to give our offering, to support Spirit's work that shows up in our life as Seaside, a place that is courageous enough to apply their spirituality and bring it forth and to share it in a bold kind of way. And so as we give our love and support, what comes back into our life is the love and support that is relevant and right and real. So I invite you to listen to your heart and to give from this sense of overflow. And with that, I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward at this time as we do take our gifts from this deep place. And I want to say thank you to those who mail in your contributions, as well as those that remember us with the auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world into Seasides. And those of you at home, we appreciate your ongoing support and love. It makes a difference in our ability to deliver this message worldwide. And you guys were a great hit at convention talking about the new technology of delivering the message on demand. But with that, I want to share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that this truly is a divine moment where the divine touches down through our expression, through our heart, through our soul, and it feels good to give it space so it continues to expand its flow as we become that wonderful vortex, the divine emanation of that greater flow of Spirit. And as that Spirit continues to flow, it blesses and graces everyone it comes in contact. And what we find in our life is a deeper sense of security and peace and well-being, knowing that all that is necessary within our life continues to flow into our experience, whether it's health or love or understanding. It is all the same expression of God. So we use that which is ours to use, our financial gifts and our love, and we send that forth, and what we find is that wonderful expanding flow of Spirit filling that space. And so it is. Amen. Together, let us say this affirmation of abundance. Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. Your guys from Seaside. Nice job. And so as I stand before this bounty, I can feel the outpouring of the love and the caring and the blessing that has come through each and every one of us. And for that love carries on over. It is felt, it is received as well as these gifts that are handled in good stewardship and is put forth back into the flow, bringing that love and that joy and the blessings to everyone it comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to be an example and expression of that wonderful embodiment of God's grace. And so it is. Amen. Hey, this is Nikki. She is one of your board members. Thank you for taking such good care of us. Rebecca, you're just fabulous and wonderful. It is such a joy to have you, Sharon, here at Seaside, and your song picks today were just perfect for us. Bless you. Yes. And a rare opportunity, you never bring your CDs, and you brought some today. So, and the one that's up for Best Album with Peter Sprague, the Cole Porter one, is just taking the town by storm. So I know it's going to win. Best Album in San Diego this year, okay? That's it. Kim Jarrah, you're graduating in June. How exciting is that? We're just so grateful that you were here this morning with us, and just all the good. And Wednesday night, how did you get Gary Lynn Floyd? He is like the number 2 next to Rebecca, player in the movement. Wednesday night, you and him. Now we can start conversations. So anyway, come out Wednesday night and experience Kim Jarrah and see one of those emerging leaders that our movement showcased at convention. And thank you for doing us proud that night. Giving us sound today is Ed. Giving us the visuals is Marv. Good job. Thank you, guys. And the Crawford video streaming team, we thank you and appreciate you for sharing this with the world. And you guys take a look at the program, see what's going on here. Like next Sunday, we got basic ideas of our philosophy. If you want to learn more about it, that's a free class. In a couple weeks, I'm doing a new class called The Power of the Word. You want to find out how to get that juice into your word? That's the class. It's going to be a quick one, only 7 weeks. Also, big news though, is next Sunday, Azim Kamisa is going to be here, keeping with our theme of the season for nonviolence. He's a living treasure. He's an icon. He's a favorite of Oprah's. He's from San Diego, La Jolla area, and he hasn't been here probably in a decade. And when you hear his story of forgiveness, a son in town got murdered, and how he's working with that guy, the murderer's grandfather, to help bring a greater sense of forgiveness into the school systems. He's turned the experience into good. And I'm planning to be here to hear him, because it's just always a moving experience. But with that, I'm rushing through announcements because we got at 12:30, we're rolling. We're going to take down our walls as soon as we're done up here. Cafe on Lake is available, so if you want to eat and watch the film, please do so in the family room, since we just had all our furniture and floors cleaned. But we got screens back there, and when you're done, you can come on in here, and Dr. Kathy Hearn is going to facilitate this conversation. And we're synchronizing it with 30 other centers, which is why we've got to start at 12:30. So wonderful. The two brothers, David and Daryl, are making their, I think that was a burritos. One's doing vegetarian and one's doing chili. Oh, 2 chilies. Thank you. Cornbread, coleslaw, vegetarian, or those for carnivorous. It's all available for us. You know what? Our kids are coming in, so I was rushing through, but I'll tell you what, I can always pause a little longer to get a story from our kids. Hey, Victoria, how's your sister doing? Keep her in our prayers? Yeah. Okay, what's her name? Diane, okay. What a good sister you are out there. Hey, anybody want to share with us? Wow, look at all of our kids today. Hey.
Today we learned about universal love, and we shared it with each other, and also we made love letters for each other.
Wow, that is beautiful. Thank you. Hey, let's say together our affirmation for our kids. We see you, we love you, and we support you in your magnificence. And so with that, we have a new choir director. Is she here? Oh, you want to introduce Sasha? Why don't you? This is an interim director. Your mom's just on sabbatical.
Yes, we have someone that's been amazing. We start rehearsal today. Come on up, Sasha, if you don't mind, real quick. I know we don't have a lot of time, but we only have a couple weeks before Easter, but we want to put on just a beautiful performance for you and share music. And please give a hand to beautiful Sasha. She's trained. She's a pianist and a vocalist herself, and we're just so grateful you're here. So if anybody is interested, we have 6 rehearsals we're doing. We're going to squeeze in just so that we can have a wonderful service for you on Easter Sunday. 3 services: sunrise, 9 a.m., 11 a.m. And so if anybody wants to come, we have rehearsal today at 1 o'clock.
Yes, anybody. Even if you can't stay today, I'd love to meet you and just know that you're on board. You don't have to read music. If you just want to sing really fun music and get to know other people in this community, please come join us. It's going to be really fun.
Wow, that's good.
Give a hand for Sasha, everybody.
Kind of cute. She says anybody. She hasn't heard me yet. I've yet to have a director let me in. This is a speaking voice. So anyways, I'm going to invite our religious science practitioners to join me up here. We're going to do our prayer wall today. We've got 15, 20 minutes to do prayers. When I'm done carrying on up here and we sing ourselves out, come on up, receive prayer. There's no cost. It feels good. These individuals have spent years, if not decades, training in the studies and the art of prayer and consciousness, so you can share whatever's going on and they will know the spiritual truth of that situation. So as I step into this divine frequency, I can feel the love in this room, the sounds of our children, the joy, the greater possibilities of knowing that we are living in a time where peace is emerging, that what is going on is that peace is emerging, that love is having a higher frequency in our land, that we're more and more willing to say enough is enough, and that we are in a place to allow that spirit to emerge as the vibration of love and caring and compassion, and for the blessings of God in this moment continue to move within our field of awareness, so we come into a greater alignment, a sense of unity. And it's in this wonderful divine vibration that I speak the revelation for this world, is that peace does prevail, that the honoring and the respect and the seeing and the embracing and the caring and just a way of being with one another, almost like Indra's net, where each cross place of relationship is a jewel that reflects the jewel of the jewel of the jewel of the jewel around it, and all is a bright light that each person is an integral part of. So grateful to know that we're part of that wonderful expression of life. I'm able to know that the truth of Seaside is that we continue to grow in our spiritual awareness and to apply it within our life, making a difference in an integral kind of way, that there is the integration of our spiritual expression in our family and our friends and our workplace, and where we are, we begin to be that divine emanation, willing to step into unknown situations, trusting and having faith in the presence of God to reveal the wholeness. And so it's in this place of questioning whether it has to do with our physical body or our health or our well-being. I know right now that is the physical experience, the statistical understanding, but let us bring in the soul, the mystical, that part that is able to flow with the caring and an understanding, the revealer, the presence of God, and healing happens in the body. For the innate intelligence in every cell, every tissue, every organ, every fiber of the physical being awakens to its innate blueprint of wholeness, and this divine frequency casts a new physical expression that allows us to walk this world with a comfort and a well-being and a balance and a perfect weight and a circulation. And then we bring this wonderful vehicle, this temple of God, for there is just different ways to being in the skin, and we bring our way, our God way, our divine way to the world in our full expression, and live with a sense of fulfillment and success and creativity, and a contributor to the life and the world in which we are. Grateful to know that all that is necessary to support that isness of God that is each and every one of us, the flow is there. The inexhaustible flow of spirit that comes from that inexhaustible reservoir, the resources, the monetary support, the people, the connections are just revealing, and we find the courage to speak up, to say yes, to embrace, and to move forward into our awkwardness with a greater awareness, inviting the Spirit to reveal itself, and healing happens, transformation emerge, abundance flows, joy fills the space, the smile is upon the face, a body that is healthy, relationships that are intimate and integrity and beautiful and emerging and evolving and taking on new expression continue to be the norm as we live in the state of grace and gratitude and appreciation for the divine expression of God that is each and every one of us here in this moment, and knowing this is our contribution to the world consciousness in which we live. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say. Come on, Seaside. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Come on, Seaside, I want you to sing it from your heart. See, Sasha, we have some singers in the house, huh? Beautiful, Seaside. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yay.
And our affirmation is, I see the good in all people. Together, I see the good in all people. Look around the sanctuary and say it again. I see the good in all people. One more time, touch your heart. I see the good in all people. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love. I'm living in peace. I'm living my life for what I believe. Through joys and through fears, in this world I walk. God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor our truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me, and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace.
All right. And so come join us. Have a prayer. Practitioners are here for you. All right, Chris is opening the wall. Help him. Enjoy some food and lunch and chili at Seaside Lake Cafe.